Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Rhonda Farrell, your success strategist, bringing you Spotlight on Success 2025, week 37. This week, we're going to be talking about the master skill of all success, focus in the age of complexity. Welcome, leaders, innovators, and change makers. You already manage teams, budgets, and strategies under extraordinary pressure. But let me be clear, the single greatest determinant of your success going forward is not just access to capital, technology, or talent. Ultimately, it is about the ability to focus, especially your focus. In today's volatile landscape, where AI is reshaping industries, global competition is accelerating, and crisis can upend markets overnight. Focus is the master skill that determines whether your organization thrives or fades. So why focus is now the defining leadership advantage? Because executives and entrepreneurs are constantly surrounded by abundance. That may be data, that may be opportunities, that may be market signals, and it may just be noise. The paradox is that abundance actually creates dilution of the impact and effect. So we have three ways to look at this. One is the leadership trap. Too many leaders are spread across 20 initiatives, leaving none that are truly transformative. We have the entrepreneur's dilemma. Endless pivots without anchoring to a core focus weakens both credibility and investor trust. And then the executive reality. Boards and shareholders are no longer rewarding busyness. What they reward is clarity, precision, and ultimately impact. So our key insight here is that focus is not about doing more. It's about creating an environment where every action compounds toward a strategic objectives. Well, how do we get there? And part two is that clarity is a prerequisite to being able to focus. Before you and your organization can have a laser-like focus on your bullseye, you must establish shared clarity about the outcomes and the results that you're aiming at. What are the targets? What channels are you going to leverage? How are you going to understand if you're on course or off course? What's the metrics and measurements you're going to utilize to help the broader team understand that? So without clarity, focus collapses into pure firefighting. You might ask, well, how do I get to clarity? Well, there is some pillars we can talk about. A is your vision. Do you have one? B, is it dialed into where you really want to be going over the next 3 to 5 years? The mission. Why do you exist beyond creation of profit for your shareholders or your team? Values. What are the absolute non-negotiables that are driving your decisions on a daily basis? Goals and strategies. What are the outcomes that are actually worth pursuing? And what must be set aside to enable you to achieve them? How do you rack and stack them? And again, how do you pivot if something's not working according to your assumptions? Systems and rhythms. How will communication and accountability be executed and reinforced daily, weekly, and quarterly? So executives, clarity is not a slide deck. It is a lived discipline that you create and maintain and grow over time. So we can't just focus at the board level, at the C-suite level. We need to make that organization-wise. And so leaders have to learn how to move beyond their own focus towards institutional or organization-wide focus. This requires functional expectations, every team member knowing their role, and ultimately its link back up to your strategy. Performance metrics. You need a dashboard that measures what matters, not some set of vanity indicators. It needs to get to outcomes, results, and impact. Continuous improvement. Systems where improvement is a shared mandate, not a side project. And lastly, co-creation. Because when teams co-build expectations and integrate the supporting systems, buy-in is achieved through that process, and ultimately they own the outcomes. What happens is that engagement and accountability soar. Executives often completely underestimate the ROI of co-creation, because when strategy is built with the people that will be doing the work to get the outcomes and the results that you're aiming at versus being imposed on them, alignment accelerates because they have buy-in. They see themselves in what they do and everything that the organization creates. Hugely powerful. And if there's an issue, they're much more likely to be willing to go the extra mile to fix it and or take responsibility for enabling a future maturation around that particular area. Next, driving engagement. And that's through gamification, because we need to make focus engaging so that it doesn't become tiresome. It doesn't become boring. It doesn't become just another thing that, our laundry list of to-dos in order to reach the outcome and results. Then that's just overwhelming and stressful and tiring. So gamification is not gimmicky, and it's not artificial. It's actually proven method through neuroscience. Why does it work? Because the human brain is actually wired for progress, feedback, and most of all, rewards. The application for leaders is that we need to transform the text on a slide, our quarterly targets, into visible scorecards, leaderboards, you name it, right? We need to make it upfront and transparent and open so that we as a whole organization can drive towards achievement. You can then use competition, not deadly competition, but heightened focus and performance to drive excellence in sales challenges, innovation challenges, etc. Again, making the outcomes and results visible, making the progress visible, really supporting collaboratively, heightened by non-lethal competition to achieve overall organizational excellence, and celebrating micro wins publicly to reinforce focus and staying on point and achievement and execution of those goals and objectives, outcomes, and results. So when work feels like a mission and also an adventure, focus actually sharpens. So what can we do to support that? And that's through the creation of a high performance dashboard. Because number one, you cannot manage what you cannot measure. Again, our metrics and our measurements are key because they will allow us to gather the current state versus expected, right? Our targets are expected, our current state is actual. We need to understand the delta between the two and pivot appropriately. It's going to help us sharpen our focus. It's going to help us align more strongly, and it's going to help us perform at a higher level because it transforms focus from a concept that's abstract into daily action, right? When we have organization-wide visibility into our priorities and the results we're achieving, when we have red-green indicators that spotlight the risks instantly to anyone on a leaderboard or a dashboard, when we can see the alignment from the C-suite to the frontline contributors, that's what matters most. Executives and entrepreneurs and business leaders alike must ask, can everyone in my organization see our progress at a glance? Do they know how their daily work advances our strategy? Can I identify misaligned efforts in real time? So dashboards play a huge part in this because they do not just track metrics, they enforce our focus. And lastly is global relevance, because focus is paramount in the age of AI and uncertainty. It is not a theory. It is across industries and well known that leaders who master focus outperform their peers exponentially. Let's look at Apple. Relentless product focus killed dozens of good ideas to scale the few great ones. Singapore, national level clarity, transforming into a global smart city hub by aligning policies, innovation, and citizen trust. And SpaceX, mission-focused, clear metrics on launch cost reduction allowed a radical innovation without strategic drift. Contrast this with organizations who are drowning in unfocused digital transformation projects. They burn through capital. It erodes trust daily. And what do they achieve? Not greatness, not excellence, but mediocrity at best. In the AI area, where disruption is exponential, focus is the hedge against chaos. So what do we need to do? Well, we're giving you a leader's exercise, and we're calling it the focus audit. So we want you today and then over this next week to write down your top 10 current initiatives. Circle the top 3 that will create disproportionate strategic impact for your organization, and eliminate or delegate the rest. Ask, if we only achieved these 3 outcomes in the next 12 months, would our future be secured? If not, then it's time to up the ante. This ruthless exercise is how executives can reclaim their focus today. So where has lack of focus cost your organization time, money, or reputation? How do you currently measure alignment between vision and execution? What practices have you found effective in keeping teams focused over very long time horizons? So leaders, it's time for our call to action. Your next level of success depends not upon greater expansion, but more likely on concentration and greater focus so you can get back in the bullseye. This week, I challenge you to audit your agenda. Identify the 3 initiatives worthy of your full focus. Co-create your metrics. Engage your team in building dashboards that make results not only visible, but inspiring as well. And lastly, look how you can gamify progress. Turn your strategic journey into an adventure that not only engages your head, but your heart and your minds as well. Focus is not restrictive. It is actually extremely liberating. It frees your organization to pursue what truly matters most with discipline, passion, and resilience. So our challenge, again, for this week is find the signal in the noise. Say no more often. Double or triple down on what matters most to you and your organization. Because in the end, focus is the master skill that transforms vision into legacy. Again, this is Dr. Rhonda Farrell, your success strategy, the CEO of Global Innovation Strategies, rounding out Spotlight on Success 2025, week 37, bringing you the master skill of all success, focus in the age of complexity.